All right. Thank you for being here. May I ask where you were before this?
She was doing talking to community members.
You said she was at a donor meeting. You were at a donor meeting?
No.
Okay. Okay, so let's ask the first question that we started with, which is from the Crown Heights Tenants Union, which has to do with donations to the campaign. That's obviously a big issue right now, so we're going to talk about that. Okay, so hold on just a second. The Crown Heights Tenants Union is calling on all candidates for the 43rd Assembly District to refuse to take donations from developers, landlord, and real estate lobbies, and to give back if they've taken that already. Has your campaign taken any real estate money so far?
As according to the newspaper, yes.
Can you explain what you mean by that?
I read the article in the newspaper that said I took real estate money.
Right, donations from developers.
Okay. When I looked at my financial, I didn't see those names there. When I looked at my financial...
That's actually not the microphone, it's just, yeah.
Oh.
There's no microphone, that's just for near.
When I looked at my financial, I didn't see the names that were in the newspaper. And that's what I told the tenants pack.
Okay.
All right. And she asked me if I did find that it was real estate money, would I give it back? And I told her I'd have to check with the campaign because they may have spent it already because it was $5,000.
Okay, so to clarify, if it has been spent already, it can't be given back? It won't be given back?
More than likely.
Okay. If it hasn't been spent, if it's there and you find it and it's from a developer and you can prove that, would you give it back?
I haven't decided, but what I will do...
Hold on.
You want to hear what I have to say or what?
Yeah, let the candidate speak.
We're asking for low-income and middle-income housing, right? Now, who's going to provide that for us? It's going to be some developer. And my thing is, we have to state what we want these developers to do. I'm sure if you dig around and look around, you'll find some developer involved in somebody's life all around. No one has approached me and asked me to do anything. I've made my stance on what I feel about housing, low income, middle income. We need more of it in this district. We need plans that make living here affordable. I live in the Mitchell-Lama. We pay 30% of our income. That's what's deemed affordable now. And I would like to see more programs like that. I've stated it, and this is what I feel we need in this community. I feel that the housing we get has to be affordable to us, what our incomes are. We are going to need some developer to provide that. I think it's a matter of the stipulations made to the developers when they're coming here.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay. All right, so on that same theme on development, let's talk about the 421A tax abatement. We talked a lot about that before you got here. Do you support keeping that tax abatement or changing it or getting rid of it, scrapping it completely? What are your thoughts on that?
I think we should scrap it and redo it. Some things that are put in place years ago don't work in the times now. It's not working. So I would suggest scrap it and start all over.
How would you improve it? What would you do?
One thing, I wouldn't want to see limits on how high the rent can go before you can stop making it affordable, where you can jump to market.
Okay.
Because I understand it's about $2,500 now. And I would say don't put a limit there. If you're going to leave it at an affordable, that's where it should stay.
Okay. Okay, let's talk about education for a moment. We had two questions, and I'll shorten them because they're quite long, from a resident in Prospect Lefferts. The first one is about basically placing emphasis on student testing and making that, connecting that to teachers' value and evaluations of teachers. Do you support the way testing is done now? And this specifically about the budget. So would you have voted for the budget with these teacher evaluation things included or not? What is your thoughts on that?
Well, I don't think they should teach to the test.
Okay.
They should teach. And the test should show how well the student absorbed what was taught, not just teaching to the test, because that may be a memory game. Next week they don't remember. If and the teacher's doing their job, the students will pass tests. Mm-hmm. They've done it before. And what's changed since then?
Okay. We had a question on Common Core and charter schools. The feeling from this person who asked this question was that the governor is pro-charter school and pro-Common Core standards. Are you in favor of charter schools and the Common Core curriculum or not, or would you change those?
I'm not sure what you mean by the charter schools. Do you mean am I for
Yeah,
charter
are you
schools?
pro-charter school? And would you support them in Albany, make it easier for them to exist, or?
I don't mind a charter school. I think a charter school is fine because a parent should be able to pick the education they think is best for their child. If a charter school provides it, fine. What I don't like is the sharing of the space.
Okay.
That sometimes may make it squeeze out the regular public school students. And also when you have two different entities like that can sort of commingle, students can get the feeling when other students got better things than they have, more than what they have. And no child should have to sit there and go with that. It's almost like the concept of going to uniforms. If everybody's in uniform, then you don't have one kid looking at this and another one looking at this one and saying he's poor because he has Converse sneakers, as opposed to Michael Jordan. So that's my thing about the charter schools. They're fine. If that's where you want your child to go, fine. Get your own space so that it's almost like another type of private school. And they exist, but not together like that, because there's a difference in the culture, and it's seen, and I believe it hinders the education.
Okay. And Common Core, can we talk about that a little bit? What do you think of the Common Core standards? Do you think that they need to be changed in any way, or do you support them?
I don't teach, and I'm not that up on Common Core. But the teachers that I have been around don't like it.
Okay.
I respect some of their opinions. As part of NYSUT, we've gone to our delegate assemblies, and it's been discussed, and I can see some of their views. But like I said, I'm not a teacher.
Okay. We've got some questions about Prospect Lefferts Gardens specifically. What would you? We've had some shootings lately. The crime has been a problem in the last few weeks. What would you do in Albany to address public safety issues in this community?
Well, we're trying to have forums here to talk about it. And sometimes when you put a group of different people at a table, sometimes you'll come up.
Can you speak a little bit louder? Better.
I don't like to shout and scream. I prefer if you had a mic, it might project it louder for me.
We don't have a microphone here, do we? I don't think we do. This is for that camera. That's for New York 1. So we don't have a microphone for the room.
Well, my suggestion would be to have people in a room and see what they feel might be of help. Right now, we see it on the news. Of course, people that are sympathetic and those that can, everybody can, they come out and they rally and they ask for change. So far, it doesn't seem to have changed anything. So maybe instead of asking for change, we have to come up with some specific changes. And the way I'm looking at it now, it almost seems like it should be a federal solution because it's happening all over. They're not just getting killed here in New York, sometimes without provocation. It's happening in other states. So we may find a solution or feel we find a solution, but it may not hold true for another state. I think it needs to be on the federal level because the guns, we talked about guns coming into New York because as we know, other states, it's legal to carry the guns around, it's legal to buy them, and they're buying them from out of state and bringing them here. You can't stop it. It seems like we can't stop it because it's still happening. So some other ideas, they still have to come together and find other reasons, other sources of how we can stop this.
Okay. We had a question about transportation and pedestrian safety issues in Prospect Lefferts Gardens. What would you do in Albany to deal with that issue to make the streets safer for pedestrians and for improved transportation in the district?
Tell me what the issue is? I mean, you say
The question
improve
is,
safety, but I
what
mean,
can you do in the Assembly to deal with transportation and pedestrian safety issues in Prospect Lefferts Gardens?
That's what I'm asking. What issues do you have over here with the transportation?
What would you do to improve transportation in the district?
Well, I mean, the trains are not on time, and honestly, I haven't taken the train. I've taken the train more in a couple of weeks than I have in a long time. I know the buses are not on time. They have schedules up, they're not on time. I've waited and 4 or 5 come together. I used to think they were at the depot playing cards. We called and asked what happens with the schedules, but nothing has happened because when they first had, I can talk about the Nostrand Avenue bus, when they first put the express bus out there, limited as they call it, we would get 5 limiteds to 1 local. I live at a local stop. So we would call up and ask, why is this happening? Of course, they're going to take care of it, they're going to take care of it. In Albany, basically they still have to get it solved on a city level as far as the scheduling of the trains, because I see that's a big problem, the scheduling of the trains and the buses. They're not on time. Now, as a safety issue, I mean, they're talking about the buses, you know, and the people getting hit. But I don't know what we can do about safety. You have the lights, you tell people not to jaywalk, the drivers are being tested. I don't have a suggestion for solving the safety issue.
Okay.
I mean, those are things that I feel you have to come together and hear what other people have. If I don't claim to know everything, and I don't have an answer for everything, but if you got an answer, let me know. That's something I can take to Albany. I'm supposed to represent the community, right? Mm-hmm. So I would naturally start by asking them, what do you think will solve our safety issues?
Okay. This is a question we had earlier. There have been a lot of concerns lately about conflict of interests in Albany, in the Assembly. Could you talk a little bit about what you currently do, what you've done, and how it may be, how may it be a conflict of interest in Albany?
With what I do now?
Sure. If you have any issues with that.
Work-wise?
Yes.
I don't see it as a conflict, but you might. I work at SUNY Downstate. Mm-hmm. The fight we've done since 2011 to keep Downstate open and public, I want to continue that fight. Mm-hmm. It's not just Downstate, it's all hospitals. But of course I have a little interest more in Downstate because I started with them and it's been 4 years. We've come a long way, it's still open in public. We used to have close to 8,000 employees there. We're down. I'd say at least a couple of thousand have been laid off during the whole process. And that's better than if they'd have closed the doors and all 6,000 would have been out on the street. Mm-hmm. But so I still have that. health has always been a thing for me, and education, so it's still close to my heart. You might feel it's a conflict of interest, but I don't. It's a hospital. I don't want to see any hospitals closed. We need them all. Population is growing, we can't afford to close.
Okay. Okay. We talked a lot about Community Board 9's rezoning proposal. I know that's a city issue, but I want to talk about how you would use your leadership to do certain things there, what you think of it, because a lot of people are concerned about it in the community. This is a question from Concerned Citizens for Community-Based Planning. Do you support CB 9's proposal to send a rezoning request to City Planning now without doing, well, this is their phrasing, without first doing a comprehensive community planning study before by an independent planning expert? What is your position about the rezoning study and why? Would you support it? Would you use your leadership to continue that rezoning proposal?
Well, I didn't have input in the proposal.
Okay.
Because I'm not a board member. But listening to them talking about it, it was suggested that they do the study first and get all the issues around the zoning put into one study and get it done at one time. And I agree with that. If things take too long doing one and then you have to go back and do the other one. So I agree that they should get the study done, or should have gotten it done, and go from there.
Okay.
Now there's a whole lot of zoning issues because the zone is not clear all the way across if we're talking about Empire Boulevard, which is a hot topic. We had other zoning issues of R2s and R4s all being rezoned to R6. Everybody didn't go with that, doesn't want to go for that either. So I think they should get them all together. But some issues are I think are happening right now. So you may have to put that one out aside and work on that one, but the survey needs to be done. Because
The study needs to be done.
The study
Okay.
needs to be done. Because I'm sure that nobody goes on a daily basis and look and see what the zoning is for each block. It might be done now because it's a hot issue. But when you think about Empire not being rezoned since 1961, that's because there was no problems then. But I'm sure when someone wants to do something there, they check it out. The community may not know it, but they check it. And what I thought of one day was, a lot of these things are planned down the line, 10 and so years prior to that. The regular planning board, the city planning, maybe we need to have communities involved in that, so you can know what the plans are for 10 years down the line. You don't just wake up and start seeing things happening, and they didn't happen yesterday. They were planned years before. So I think the community needs seats on the citywide planning board.
Okay. And this is a question about rent problems. How would you address the current rent problems of tenant harassment in the district as a leader in Albany?
Well, I partnered with Senator Hamilton and Lori Combo. We had a big housing forum to know your rights. Had the different agencies out there, and they explained to you what you could get, if you didn't know about, other than SCREE and DREE, there was different programs available, and they dealt a lot with information on how you could contact agencies if you had certain problems. We're having a forum on the 29th, and this one deals a lot more with repairs and things for homeowners, but it's also part of the Know Your Rights. Because what I've been hearing from a lot of the residents, it's not laws so much that seems to be affecting their stability in their apartment. It's more of different tactics that are being used, such as some people tell me that the landlord's not accepting their rent. They're willing to pay their rent, but he doesn't want to take it. Some folks are telling me that they're being offered money to move out of their apartments. And most of these folks have been in their apartments over 30 years. So these aren't laws that are being broken. I mean, harassment is a law, but These are tactics that's being used. And I think the bottom line on it is because we have luxury housing moving into our district, the landlords that are here, they're looking at it as, well, if they can get this money for the apartments they build, why can't we get it for the ones we already have? And that's where I believe a lot of this, the renters are feeling the biggest squeeze. Because when they say they're being pushed out, they're talking about their individual apartments. And it's not that they want to move into the luxury housing because they know they can't afford it. But why can't I stay where I've been? And why are you jumping the rent so high?
Okay.
So that's what pretty much I'm hearing
Okay.
in the district.
All right. So we're gonna end about 8:30, which is about 6 minutes away. Since we opened it up to questions in the first half, we're gonna open it up to questions again. Does anyone have questions that we didn't address? Let's start right to left. Diane Shaw.
Members, good evening. Members of the City Council have discretionary budgets that they can distribute to community nonprofits, and the state legislators lost those budgets in 2010. The Speaker Hasty is proposing that it should come back. If you were to be in the assembly and have member allocations that you could distribute, how would you choose which group should receive discretionary funding, and do you support bringing back member items for an Albany?
When I was on the neighborhood advisory board, that's one where you took surveys in the community, and then they prioritized it and looked at who could provide the services that the community wanted. And basically, it would have to be something similar to that, because if you do have, everybody feels their item is the item that's needed, right? The community-based ones to get the funding. So we would have to, I would think, I would like to look at which ones are needed the most. Because if you can't give to everybody, then you have to figure out who you can give to. And that would be something I would be thinking about. Now, I mean, City Council has their fund, and I'm sure the bottom line, it's up to them and not Albany. But you want to know about funds that I might have.
Right, that the Speaker has proposed that Albany, that members of the state legislature get member items back. So do you agree with that?
Somewhat, because the city is closer, to me, the council is closer to knowing what you need on this quality of life on the city level. The state, I'm not sure about that yet.
On Dennis Road, at present, the highest building is 7 stories. Eric Adams, Assemblyman Kareem, I think those people are supporting you, have given letter of basically approving the height going beyond up to even 13 stories and 18 stories without consulting, even asking the community how they feel about this. How would you want with this?
Well, I would just ask now, what is the zoning for these particular areas? Because you mentioned 7. 7 allows you to go higher than 2 and
That's
4.
not my,
What did, excuse me?
your feelings as far as without, in other words, you just say, all right, go ahead, Bill. That's what they did. Without even coming to the community and find out their feelings regarding this.
And it's particularly
Well,
about
I'm
height
just
limits,
saying
right?
also, with coming to the community, they could have explained to you that if it's zoned for R7, that allows you to be much taller. 2 and 4 and 6, they're shorter. You know, like 2, 4, you get to 6, I think you can go about 80
Yes,
feet.
but we have asked for a zoning, downsize.
Okay.
And of course, I
Has
have
it been
a
approved?
representative from the city council who's of no damn use. You will be laughed with. Listen, I'm 80 years old, so I don't give a damn who care, and I take on anyone. And I don't want to sound abrasive, but it is the truth. We elect people to look out for our interests. I am not here to play nice guy.
No.
I've been a nice guy too long. And when I hear you and hear other people say, oh, affordable housing, but you did hit a right spot. I've been living around here for 42 years, over 40 years, my wife and myself. And I think what you hit it right here when you said, people, and we have the tenants who feel that, oh, this doesn't concern them. You damn right I'm gonna raise my rent to $2,300 or whatnot. Since when I come to them and ask them, let's fight this issue. No. So that's what I'm saying. We find that the politicians that we elect will not come to the community, have a dialogue with us and find out how we're feeling. There are other issues that we can deal with, from the shooting, from the everything that's really related. But come feel out how we feel. That's my complaint.
Well, I
And I'll tell
told you.
Mr. Adams that, and I'll tell any one of them that.
I told you that's what I felt about the justice thing. We want to
Okay, let's get a
and
couple more
discuss
questions.
their ideas. That's what I said to you. That's what I said. Because I don't know everything. And evidently, just coming together, putting flowers out, and having marches, all of that's not working. It might work, but it's working slowly. And that was one of the things I said to you. Not meaning just you, to the audience. I would like
when I
to
hear you
see.
say you accept $5,000 from these guys, that's really gonna go,
Okay, let's get a couple more questions in before the
Sorry.
end. No, that's okay. Alicia.
I think I'm a piggyback on my neighbor.
I hear you.
And, our problem is that we have a lot of different entities in this community. And when we attempted to have dialogue with community boards to sit down and have a discussion, the only thing that happens is that we get told what it is that we need to do. Now, you've been our district leader since September, and you have been coming to our community board meetings. And personally, I didn't even know what you looked like until you flied in my door. And that's no lie. That's no lie. You know what you look like as a district leader. But it's your job as a district leader to organize the community and to sit there and be the voice of the community when it comes to our local politicians. Now, it didn't seem to me that you've done that job very well. Because I didn't know you, and everybody knows me. I've been at those meetings, okay? Very loud. So now you want us to believe that you're going to now take a step higher in office, have more power, and now you want to convince us that you're going to now hear us and listen to us and represent us. So my question is, why haven't you done that before?
Well, the same thing. I just met you last summer. Same thing. No. Like I said, I work a 9 to 5 too. And I tell you that I am the eyes and ears for the community. But you've never asked me anything either. Now, when I've come to the meetings, and I'm listening because I'm not part of the board, I have no authority over the board, but I have come and I've listened. And I even suggested a dialogue at one of the meetings. I don't think it was the board meeting, I think it was precinct council meeting. Because from what I'm seeing when I come, it gets out of hand, and I don't know if there's anything being accomplished. You may not agree with me, but that's what I see. Now, you didn't know me, I didn't know you. And the thing is, people stand at the train and say, you only come out when you want us. And the same thing, when you want me, I think you should come, and I don't have an office.
Okay, we're gonna do one more question, then we gotta end it. But Karen, your last question.
Well, let me just say one thing. You don't feel that the community should come out and say, no, can you listen to me?
Excuse me?
I'm just saying, you don't think the community should come out and state what they want?
We've been trying.
The thing is,
We've been trying. When I did not bring our basic premise up, Stevie 9. But and talk what we need to talk. 3 minutes. That we have been fighting for that one thing, and not one representative has come up and said, please give them 3 minutes. Please give the community 3 minutes so they can speak. Not one of our representatives has
But I was there one night when one of the speakers gave up his whole time to hear what the community had to say. From Megan
After we
Evers.
demonstrate.
All right, let's get off CV9 for a second. Let's go to Karen for the last question.
This is the literature from you that comes to my mailbox. And more than once, I see that you have aligned yourself, I want to say, with Shirley Chisholm. You say that she is your political hero. You seem to not be clear. You want to see it?
No, I know what you're showing me. I'm listening to
So, I mean, you just
what you're
look like
saying.
you didn't recognize the document, and I know you can hear me because of a very powerful voice. So, my question to you is, since the NAACP had a meeting last week, where they invited all these same people who are running for office, what could you have been doing since you have aligned yourself in positioning yourself with Shirley Chisholm? What could you have been doing that would have been more important than you being there?
I wasn't invited.
What?
No, I didn't get an invite.
Yeah, ooh, okay, well, I'm gonna let them know that.
Okay, all
I
right.
mean, why
We're
should I
gonna,
sit here and lie about it?
no, we gotta end questions.
No,
That's-
she wants to ask a question first.
We're gonna, if people have questions for the candidates, we can do it after, you can speak to people one-on-one, but that's it for the forum. Thank you for being here. Quest.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here, folks. Thank you so much for making it. I appreciate it.